All right.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next is approval of the agenda. Oh,
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay. Minutes of the last meeting.
We sent these out over email to review. Action items were captured and it's in there.
Most action items were carried forward into the agenda for today from September 5th, so. All right, I make a motion to approve the minutes of September 5th meeting.
A second.
All in favor? Okay, do we have a treasurer's report?
We do. Well, I have an update. It's not an official report, but I met with Kelly Burgess, the town treasurer, Jen Brew, town administrator, and Sam Singleton, rec director, to go over the budget and reporting requirements for moving forward. We're in the process of moving over to a different accounting firm, and so there's going to be a little bit of a delay between being able to get the really granular numbers to match up against the budget. But for future meetings, once that few weeks passes, and hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have more of a standard format that I'll use going forward for everything. And I'm also going to audit the registration numbers compared to the payment receipts, just to make sure that those line up as well, and then keep track of the registration numbers like Sam has been doing for the different sports. Kind of a rough update is for the Snack Shack supplies. Last week, we were close to $200 for supplies, and we ended up with about $85 in profit. We picked up a supply order today that was, again, about $200. And I'll have those exact numbers.
Does that mean that the total number, the total amount of dollars made was 285, and then you're just nixing out 200, 200?
Yeah, so just the profit, and then, so some of that money was deposited back into the bank account, and then there's like $100 in petty cash to go for this week. And then other supplies like paper plates and burgers and dogs and buns and stuff were.
We usually have stuff carry over week to week.
Yep.
So
Yep.
saying that 200 was all the way used isn't accurate, but if we're doing 200 a week, eventually the thought process is if we're buying mostly the same stuff, the expenditure each week would go down a little bit. So at some point, 200 will go down to
Yeah.
like 190, 180, 170. So are we buying like different stuff this time around, or we're still like figuring out what we're doing?
I believe it was different. I've got an itemized receipt, and I picked up the order today, but one of the things that Jennifer had also mentioned is that it would be great to do an inventory of like the equipment and the supplies that we have, so we should plan some time to go through and do that. But
I'm gonna show up early tomorrow and try to get the nitty gritty on that. And like, once we're on autopilot, like, I don't think it'll be a discussion point.
Yeah.
But just in my head, where we're like, I remember Snack Shack last year, and we had like chips and stuff carry over every week. If we're spending 200 every week, we're either expanding our choices every week, or we're completely going out of inventory, and I don't think that's accurate. So it's just like small details like that we'll tack down.
yeah, and just
It'll be autopilot.
looking at this, like the things that were purchased again, was American cheese slices, half and half.
Yeah, all the perishables.
And like everything else, I think was different. So like, last time we got Gatorade, this time we got root beer. There were Airheads this week, but there wasn't any candy last week. There were bottles of water, but there weren't this week. So it's, I think it is a different, different set of items. Yeah.
I was with Sam and packed up with her, and there's quite a bit that
Carried over.
carried over.
So I'm like, do we have a goal in like 2-3 weeks? We just have a standard of like what we're gonna buy, and then whatever goes out? Or are we still actively trying to figure out what we wanna do for the menu right now? What do you think?
I wanted to bring up, I think we should have a couple healthier items on the menu, because I've had some parents be like, oh, you can't eat that, you can't eat that. And, it's like Pirate's Booty as opposed to like chips, you know?
Yeah,
Or like, they have the fruit leather
some
things
more
as opposed to
health-conscious
candy.
items.
Yeah. The things that people still like want to eat. and
So
buy.
we're kind of in agreement that we're still expanding and figuring out the menu. And then, is anyone like in charge of tacking down what we're finally offering, or is it just gonna be a free-for-all every week? This isn't like stuff we went over last year, we kind of just flew by the seat of our pants, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we kept track of what was selling and what was not, so we, maybe going forward, be like, hey, these were popular items, healthier options, for example.
One of the pages that's in the packet of things is the budget with the itemized expenses by sport. And there's also a section for concession stand, and so the startup was budgeted at $400, and so I'm not sure, because I didn't cover this specifically with Sam, but I don't know if that was these last two grocery shopping trips, and then there's a different plan for that, so I'd have to defer to her to speak to that
Yeah, I see the story.
again, but that, I think, was close to that startup cost, because it was like $199 and change, and then about $200 for the one that I picked up today. And then this annual budget is also part of the treasurer's report, so Sam gave me these numbers, and then I just put it into a format that I'll use to update with the expenses and revenues coming in. We're pretty close to on track for everything that was budgeted, so there was a discrepancy between what we thought the cost was gonna be for the soccer net. We thought it was gonna be $1,200, and that's what was budgeted for it, but it ended up costing $1,600. And so that's what's noted in red there. But some money was taken from the ceremony budget for gymnastics, and from the ref fees in order to accommodate, like, shifting some of that budget. And like I said, I don't have the specific dollar amounts, and I don't think we have a final amount for what the ref charges will be per game, depending on what the weather is and stuff, but I hope to be able to update that. And then I think the equipment charge for gymnastics was budgeted at $500 and ended up coming in at around $600. And so those were the only differences that have been noted for what that operating budget was. And then at the bottom, I broke out instead of the day-to-day operating stuff, like the playground and shed, and then salaries and benefits as a separate item. So the ones that we'll monitor more closely will be that operating budget.
Nice.
Anything else? I think that's it. So that kind of a meandering report this week, but I'll get it tighter as we get more of those numbers.
We're already doing night and day better.
Yeah.
This flag football here, is that something that we were planning on doing, or is that just something that was budgeted, but we never actually did it because it's football season right now?
Yeah, we didn't do it. It might be on the forecast, so maybe we do it, maybe we don't for 2024.
I know Sam mentioned she'd like to try to do flag
That'd be
football
awesome.
next year.
I think it would have a lot of participation.
Yeah, that would be still included in this budget
Cool.
for fiscal.
So if we don't, just to close the loop on that, if we don't do flag football, does that money get reallocated, or does it just get given back and we're like, oh, we didn't need it? What's the thought process there?
I think we would probably vote as a board to figure out, as a committee,
How to allocate.
if we wanted to allocate it to something different or have it roll over.
Cool.
So that's the deal.
Yeah, it's treasurers.
Okay, now old business. The first thing I have on there is this shed purchase, shed options.
Did everyone look at all the shed options or what Sam's recommendation was? I looked at every receipt and well, first of all,
We
ask
should
the
probably
question.
go through them, just one by one quickly.
Did everyone look at them or,
I did.
okay.
Yeah, we chatted about them at the last meeting, and then we had talked about also evaluating the steel building options. I don't know if you want to give an update on that.
Yes. Yep.
My initial impression was everyone got as close to, except for one or two. But I'm guessing how it was communicated was we have this budget for the shed. So I noticed everyone got as close to the 10K as they could. So then what only separated each shed option for me was the material it was made out of and the size. So some are wood, some aren't. and then some are like 10 by 20, one's 12 by 12. So it's just a lot. I'm not a shed expert, so.
Yeah, it's a lot to look through if you don't, and that's why it was nice to have Dave here last time, because he has more building experience, I think, or just,
I looked at Sam's recommendation and I wouldn't know any better. And if I'm not gonna do any further discernment, I'd be like, oh, let's just go with what you say. But
wasn't metal kind of counted out because of its wear over?
It had to,
You
you
require
have to,
concrete.
you have to,
pad.
Yeah, that's right.
concrete
That's
pad,
right.
we'd have
Yeah.
to, on top of that cost, where
That's right.
I know one of the sheds in there, the underneath of it is in that price with it delivered and them doing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was nice about the one that Sam recommended, was that they would drop the gravel and lay it out and stuff, and that was included in that cost, which I thought was pretty good. And then there was also an option to go and like check out what those sheds looked like, but I think that one looked like good quality. And then actually, I think we have to approve the treasurer's report,
Oh, we do? Okay.
and then, sorry.
Oh, you're
I know we're backtracking a little bit, yeah, approve it, and then, or did we?
I don't think we motioned to approve. Do we have to approve each item as we go through it, that we like covered it?
I
Is that how the meeting
think-
works?
Is it?
I think the agenda, the meeting minutes, the treasurer's report, I think that's it, and then it's only if there are decisions moving forward that we have to do it.
Okay,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I second.
All in favor?
Back to your regularly scheduled program.
Nice job, Ann.
So I want to make a note for everyone else, like, we're all volunteers, we're not really, we're not getting paid to put in the extra work behind the scenes. It's the same deal with the selectmen, they get paid, but it's not like an extraordinary amount. So like, I understand maybe this isn't like, when we research something, we're not providing executive notes and getting super detailed about why we did a decision, but on the same token, like, if you guys ask me to research what's the best option, chalking or painting or whatever, I'm gonna provide receipts of all the options, and then I'm gonna give a summary of why I chose one option, and like 1 or 2 sentences for what the other options provide, pros or cons, like, I don't.
Do you
So-
think we should do that for the shed before
So,
we take a vote on it?
whether it's the shed
not
or
a
any
bad
other
idea.
issue, it's not helpful to me, and I don't wanna knock Sam while she's not here.
She went through the effort of getting.
She went through the effort of getting, and this
Yeah.
is more effort
Which-
than we usually do. But I just wanna put it out there that when any of us get tasked with something, like, provide the options, give like a healthy summary, pros and cons, whatever, or executive summary, so that we're all here, not wasting time looking through receipts, discussing why this is 10,000, why this is 15,000, and deliberating. Like, we could spend another 30 minutes on this shed, so.
And none of us are shed experts, so, I mean, it's not that complicated, but it's a matter of, we're spending a lot of money on it too.
Right,
so.
that's the amount of money we spend. yeah.
Just as a general committee thing, if any of us get assigned researching for something, like, let's do our best to like bring, if you don't feel like putting the work to say pros and cons for everything and come with an executive summary, then just don't volunteer to do it. And if you are gonna do it, let's try to keep everything on track with good notes when we come forward, so that's it.
Right,
I agree.
Yeah,
I'll volunteer to summarize the shed stuff if everyone would prefer that, and then maybe provide like top 2 recommendations.
do we think that we need to go and like do a tour? I know that was mentioned that we could go and look at the shed options for the quality of it, or is that not necessary?
I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I don't really have time to go tour sheds, to be honest.
One's in Bangor, one's in,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of these locations, it would take a long time to go see all these.
Kind of just have to cross our fingers, I think, and, you know, space is the main thing.
So you're gonna take the lead for?
I'll take the lead. I'll summarize it, and then I think maybe based on that, if I can send that out as a read ahead before the next meeting, then we could come
Do the final vote?
do a final vote then.
If I was a shed expert, I could.
And I'll
tear-
include whether or not, like, the, what do we call under the shed? Like
Slab?
slab or gravel, or
Base.
like the under shed
Yeah.
stuff.
Material.
The floor.
I'll kind of include whether or not that's been included in the price,
Yeah.
so that we have that.
It's-
All right.
I looked at all these before the meeting, and it's still gonna take another 15, 20 minutes for us to go around and deliberate and give pros and cons for each of these, and I just don't think we have time, so if we can just push this for one more meeting, she'll bring summary notes and then we'll knock it out with a vote then.
I agree.
That works.
I second that.
All in favor? Okay. The ground plans. I don't
If you want,
know.
I can provide a quick summary of, so the Acton Rec Committee met at the Acton Rec Field to discuss placement of the purchase of a new shed, a playground, and disposition of the old shed, and new placement of a new shed. So I think as we were there, what we discussed and what we seem to come to the conclusion of, which we will decide formally right now, was the old shed would be moved from inside the fence line to directly outside the fence line in front of where the basketball court, in order to allow for easy access of pulling out the ice rink things that are gonna be continued to be stored in that shed. So I think that was the first decision everyone seemed to agree to. If you would like to vote on that, I'd make a motion to vote on moving the old shed outside the fence line.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
So the second thing that we discussed was then putting the proposed playground where the old shed is currently, as there's a natural kind of dip in that area that does not interfere with where the soccer field currently resides. So I think that meant it was a natural, it already has two sides fenced in, so we would then block that off where the old shed is and then make a playground there. I think everyone seemed to agree that that was good placement of that, including Dave.
Easy for parents, they can watch the game and watch the kids
Right,
at the
yeah.
same time.
It's inside the fence line, not near the parking lot, and it's also directly near where the soccer fields are, but also far enough away from where baseball would be occurring. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt, putting the new playground where the old shed is.
Second that?
All in favor?
We all agreed on that one?
Okay, the third thing was placement of the new shed, which we discussed would be toward where the new parking lot is going to be, toward the very back of the field. I don't know how best to describe it. I think there's
The back
already
left
an
corner?
opening. Yeah, back left corner, furthest away from Route 109. And there's already, I think, a gate there, if
Yep.
I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So there's a gate there so that we could bring the shed in, and then there's already a marked area that's not being used for any of the smaller children's soccer fields, and it's out of the way of the baseball diamond. So I think we all agreed that that was a good placement for that shed. I'd like to make a motion to approve that spot as the new area for the new shed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I think there was one more discussion point that we hadn't agreed on or disagreed, was bathroom. If we were to do bathrooms.
Yeah, I
it
think
might
that's
on
gonna
the-
be a future budget item.
Special guest appearance by Leo. Thanks for the videos, by the way. Made me laugh.
So we had discussed putting in a septic and from real bathrooms. We don't currently have the budget for that, but it seemed to be a favored item for possibly including in a budget for next year, so I don't think that we need to vote on that right
Okay,
now.
so-
But it was discussed at the rec field, so that's,
It's a great idea.
Just to note that
Yep.
it'll be on a future budget, and right now we're going with the porta potty for the foreseeable future.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and the porta potty is in the budget for what that monthly fee is year-round.
Yep.
One thing I was thinking with the porta potty, it dawned on me yesterday, why can't we have two porta potties? Like, I don't know.
There's probably 4 or 5 people after the first set of soccer games. And, yeah, I don't need to go into more detail. There's just like a line of 4 or 5 people for like 10, 15 minutes, so.
Yeah.
Second porta potty may be a good idea for soccer.
Was
Should
there
we
anything
ask,
else that I missed for grounds plans?
should we ask Sam or anyone to research what adding a second porta potty would do for the budget? And then, I don't know if it would make sense, because we're at the tail end of soccer season now, but for the 2024 sports, maybe, just to see if they would give us a deal, because we already have one.
Yeah. Yep, yep. Get 2 porta potties, 25% off. From what I understood, what they locked in for, the price for that porta potty is like really good, so I don't know. I'm not an expert on prices, but
You are an expert on porta potties.
I heard,
It's
I heard that we
$85 a
got
month.
like a pretty killer deal on that.
85 a month?
Yeah, 85 a month is what's
That sounds
listed, so
pretty decent.
$1,020 for the budget.
And they come every week, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They come
I
every
think
week
so.
to clean
It's-
it,
It's always clean,
It is always clean,
Yeah.
yeah.
except on game day.
Unlike this.
right? Should you try that morning? That would be great. Okay.
So I think now that we've voted on where the playground is going to be, we can then, for the next item on the agenda, we could then research what type of playground items would fit in that area. So
Yeah.
was there anything else you wanted to discuss for that agenda item, playground?
Do we have a
No,
measurement of that space?
It was just basically to try to touch base a little bit about trying to research like what actually, because me and Sam did go over and look at the playground in Farmington, and when we looked it up, it was, that playground alone structures that they had was 30 to 40 grand by itself,
Yeah,
just a
it's
structure
expensive.
with nothing else, when we looked it up. So I've been kind of doing some looking around to see what it's gonna be. I guess it just depends on, like you said, like this, knowing the size of it and what can fit in there is gonna depend on how much it is.
If we're doing a playground, let's please not do one swing set with 2 swings and a slide. Like, that's not a playground.
No,
I've seen, we have one of those down at the Milton Mills Library. I'm like, my wife always calls it the playground. Like, this isn't a playground.
I think it
It
would
has
be
one of
worth,
those little
I
bouncy things, doesn't it? One of those little
Yeah, it
seats.
does.
think it would be worth getting things that are durable as well.
Yeah,
Like maybe not necessarily wood items unless they're really
but things that can last for a
things
while.
that would last a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely commercial playground stuff, and, David mentioned setting the budget and trying to do all of it at one time instead of piecemealing the different pieces, and we have to think about what the wood chips and kind of the material cost and preparing the ground would cost
Right.
as part of that as well. So once we know what the shed budget is, then we'll know what our official budget is for that playground and what we can get for that amount of money, or if we would need to try to find another way.
So maybe we should talk about what the order of priority should be. The only reason I say that is even if we purchased a shed, I don't think we would be able to get it in through the new parking lot because of what it looks like right now.
because it's not.
Yeah, that's
Call.
true.
So
And the fence doesn't open up wide enough, does it? We don't have a big.
I don't
gate on
think
the
so.
side?
It's
yeah.
a double. I
Do we
don't-
have?
Yeah, it's a double.
Okay, maybe it's locked up. I think you're right.
Yeah, but it is a double on that
Okay.
end.
On the current parking lot, there is
So we
one,
could-
there's an
They
opening.
could drive it down
Yeah.
after. the
Yes,
season.
and
I
the
think it's
current
locked
one.
up. They-
Okay.
they can
Locked up,
open
but there's
double,
a-
yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Oh,
Right
there-
before, it's right
okay.
before that, like, little
Yep.
place in the, yeah.
Okay, so we can
Okay.
purchase the shed now.
So we could,
then.
okay.
Because they could
Once
drive that
we-
way.
Once we decide on one, okay.
'Cause I
Maybe
think
wait till the
that's
maybe wait till
pretty
after soccer
urgent.
season, so we're not like, we have all the goals and stuff.
But it's urgent for storage of stuff that,
Yeah.
Okay.
And that way, that'll be easier for us to do the inventory and keep track of what we have
Yeah.
for equipment too. If it's
And
all
get
there.
stuff out of, isn't there equipment that they wanted us to get out of this building
Yeah,
over here?
There's a few things. Oh,
Okay.
in this building.
Like
right?
gymnastics,
Yeah, isn't
math and
there-
stuff probably.
Yeah, there's stuff that I
There's a
think,
ton of crap in there. We haven't done an inventory, I don't think either, so that's
yeah,
on
we
the
should
to-do list.
plan a time to do an inventory.
is
That's
that gonna drive the decision for what size shed we get?
I don't know.
I think we were constrained.
I don't think we have a
By
ton
price,
of,
not by,
I think there's a crap ton of stuff to get rid of over there. I don't know how much is actually what we're gonna keep. It's good questions.
okay.
Don't have answers.
Should we try to schedule an inventory?
Yeah.
I think, so. I
Absolutely.
think we should probably do that
And
near
then,
term.
when I met with Jennifer and Kelly, they had mentioned that anytime that we have a quorum of board members, we should post that we're gonna be meeting. I don't know if that would apply for the inventory as well, so if anybody from the public wanted to attend. So if we schedule it, it should be more than 10 days out, and we can ask Jennifer if we do have to post it, 'cause I'm not sure what the rules
And
are.
For a walkthrough?
For
Inventory.
Inventory.
yeah, whenever we have like a a quorum of board.
Okay, so 10 days out.
It's not just
Does
inventory
that
in
technically
here.
count as a meeting?
I don't know if it
They're
does,
not
but,
deciding anything, right?
Yeah.
We're just
We're just taking inventory, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take as an action item to email Jen right after this and ask about a walkthrough, if we
And
need
we're-
to schedule it out.
supposed to go through Sam to talk to Jen, just so that they don't have all of us emailing different things as well, so we
Okay.
should coordinate through Sam.
I'm
to
going
send.
to email Sam.
Okay.
And, to ask Jen if
Yeah.
we need to schedule 10 days out or not for a walkthrough.
And as far as inventory, is it just here, or is it also here in the high school, or middle school?
I
Because
know
we have stuff in that closet too, right?
We have basketballs. I don't know if we have much
And,
else.
So, yeah, I don't think there's not, last time I was
the
in there,
school,
wasn't a
Just
lot.
basketballs and jerseys, I
At the
think.
school, it's just the cage, some leftover trophies, jerseys, and basketballs.
And there was a mat that you took out already, right?
Yeah, the big
That
mat.
has been donated, so that's not there anymore.
Okay, and then we should also look at what's in the snack shack and the shed too, like if we're just doing complete inventory.
I know Sam has been storing some in her garage.
Yeah, okay.
The snacks?
No, some of the, equipment,
Oh, cool.
so.
Like the hot dog bun thing and all that, I bet, right?
The steamer.
Yeah, it would
The
definitely,
steamer's in the snack shack now, but
It is,
there's
but
the,
I think she's.
it would
been-
definitely be nice to have all that at one location in
Yeah.
people's houses.
and to know what we have and what condition it's in, so that we know,
Yep.
you know, if things need to be replaced, that we
Right.
budget for or whatever. but- Okay, so,
Okay. So so just for prioritization for the grounds, can we say shed purchases first? And then the parking lot?
I would say parking lot, because I think I put it down here somewhere, maybe I didn't.
Say that because I think that was a priority for parents.
Yes, I've had 4 parents, including 2 coaches, come up to me asking about what we're doing about that, because it's,
About the parking lot?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and then also we would want to make sure that we have enough budget to complete the parking lot the way that we want to, and then see
Right.
what remains for the playground. If we wanted to take any, if we needed to reallocate any funds from that playground to the,
Do we currently have
Dave,
enough?
Dave did mention though, like if we get the shed and then the parking lot looks like it might eat up the rest of the budget, that we can make sure to put in a request possibly for some other funds to the select board, so long as we're kind of executing on the other things that we've done.
So we're prioritizing the shed over the parking lot right now?
I think near term, that's probably,
Because we already have the budget for it, I think.
Yeah, and we already have parking technically.
Yeah.
but I think the parking lot should probably be our next after the
Yeah.
shed.
that should
I
be the
agree.
very,
Oh, yeah, I wonder how much that'll cost. We have quotes?
because soccer is within a few weeks of being completed. but
Yeah.
The parking lot is not,
Dire.
right.
But we
but
need
the
to-
storage of all the stuff is, yeah.
Well, parking lot, I did have, one of the coaches that asked me about it, and her idea, because the parking lot's gonna take us some time to get, was to, like, put the first game 9 AM, second game 10:15, so give some time for the 9 AM kids to get out of the parking lot and the 10:15 kids to get in, instead of having them back to back.
Isn't that how it's set up this weekend? Because we have the 10:30 game and then a 12 o'clock game.
I'm looking right
It
now.
seems, it
It
seemed
might
different.
be for you guys, but for us younger ones, it's not. I have so I have what is it? Oh, that's October, so go,
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't.
that's,
print
so
out.
mine, like my daughter's is at 9, my son's is at 10, so
Okay.
they're
Yeah,
back to
still
back.
Back to back, yeah.
So just maybe popping back,
No, that's a good idea.
not this weekend, cause parents are gonna, it's so close, but like popping back at 15 minutes, just give some time for flow. of
Less
cars.
people to park on 109, yeah, that's kind of dangerous. I've had to do it a few times.
The third and fourth and first and second are 9, and then the third and fourth for ours is 10:30. It's about a 15, 20-minute grace period, so that was scheduled nicely. But then, like you said, the 10 AM,
Yeah.
that's kind of back to back. So it could have been 10:15. Definitely something to keep in mind.
That's a good thing to keep in mind for scheduling, yeah, for the future.
So should I make a motion to prioritize purchase of shed first, then parking lot, then playground items?
Yes. That was
Second
another.
motion.
All in favor?
Do you want to move on to the next? Can we conclude
Yeah,
that
I was,
item?
I was gonna go right down to sponsors as well.
Awesome.
Okay. Sponsors she gave me. Where?
On a related note, Ann put all these out on Google Drive, which I think is a later item, Google G Suite account. So I looked over all these sponsorship forms on our, what could be our shared Google Drive. So thanks for setting that up.
Yeah, thank you.
The only thing I'd bring up, I think Ann was putting some like grammatical spelling edits, so we could reprint these out with
Okay.
those, like, that's whatever. But the only real item was if we want different levels of signs. Like, there's a 2x4, is that the only one we're gonna offer?
Well, there's two different types of sponsorships, right?
Yeah,
So
there's
there's
one
the
that go on the back.
signs, and then there's the teams
Yeah.
sponsoring a team.
Yeah.
The team is pretty
So,
straightforward. It's
Yeah,
just
the
Yeah.
team application, I pretty much use the same format for each sport.
Yeah.
So if there are any edit, I think it's a simple form. If you have any edits or changes that anyone would like to make,
I saw in one of the sponsorship forms, I don't have it on me, but I saw something that said, the company name will be on the jersey.
Back, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we-
and so are we making new jerseys every season for new
That's what we
sponsors?
talked about last meeting, if we wanted to switch to that, so the sponsors, were on the back of the t-shirt,
Kids could keep them.
so the kids could then keep them.
Yeah,
But in that price of the sponsorship, it should cover the jerseys.
right.
Have we calculated that out?
I've been working with,
Bikini?
yeah, Dwayne, every time I seem to go in to get my other jerseys for the other thing I'm on, he's not there. So I leave a message and he calls me back, and then but in all reality, it depends on, how many kids we're gonna have for jerseys, but I'm waiting to get back from him how much per jersey with the, sponsor on the back with a number would be. Cause then I also asked about putting like the Acton Rec logo here. We had that on the
And
front too.
how much extra would it be to have like the last names on it? It's just, I've seen, like, I know, doesn't Luke have his last name on his football jersey?
Yeah, for
that's a,
Sanford.
it's not, that's the warm-up, no. He has it on his.
His practice jersey.
Oh, practice jersey?
Yep, the regular jerseys, they don't have that.
Okay.
What's that, Sanford?
Which is what you guys actually had mentioned for cheer gear, like
Yeah.
having warm-up outfits that have names on them.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of
Versus-
the kids be like, oh, I wish I had a jersey that had my name on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
If the kids are gonna
That's-
keep them, I think that's a worthwhile suggestion. If we're gonna
I
go
mean-
the route of them keeping them, let's
Yeah.
maybe, can't be that much more to put last names on them.
My only suggestion was that, are we gonna move the sponsors to the front?
Because you wanted the Acton Rec logo, right? on the
Right, it
front.
it doesn't have to be, but I'm just saying, if we're gonna put the last name on the back and the sponsor, it's gonna be like too much on the back plus
Is
the
how about
number.
the sleeve? I saw some jerseys that had sleeve sponsors last weekend. The Berwick team had sleeve sponsors on both sleeves.
Or the Acton Rec logo could be on the sleeve or
Sleeve.
something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Sponsor.
true.
So all the Sanford jerseys have the name of the sponsor on the front, and then they have number on the back, so.
We should just look at soccer jerseys. I mean, they're just like a smorgasbord
Yeah.
of advertisements.
Yeah, see, I would just have like a NASCAR.
Yeah, NASCAR jackets. Here's your NASCAR jackets, kids.
Right.
So if that's, so I think the root of what we need to figure out is how much money are you profiting from a sponsor by putting out new jerseys every year? So what's the cost? What?
I'm sorry. No, you don't mean like profit, you mean, because they're paying essentially to have their name. We're gonna
Yeah.
Yeah, just to
spend money
break even on
regardless on
the-
the jersey.
So
They're just
the
paying
goal,
to
the
put
goal is to break even on it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And I think that works. We gotta make sure we break even.
Yeah, the sponsors are just to fund the
Yeah.
purchase of the.
Creation,
Yeah.
and then the kids are gonna keep them, so then also if we wanna put last names on them or
We
not.
could do that too.
But then
See
they
what
would
the price
also,
differences are.
then the kids would keep the number they're assigned,
Last names or nicknames.
no grab
We could-
of what
we
number
could
they
do-
want, so.
Right.
Warm-up gear. I don't know if we have funding for that. Maybe that's something we think about for next year. Instead, where sponsors pay for naming on the jerseys. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could also have the option of if the parents wanted to buy warm-up gear with the names on
Did you
it.
say they could pick their numbers too, TJ?
I think that's a nightmare.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
know, it
that's
sounds-
worth it.
Yeah.
I know, I liked it, but I'm like, that might be too much.
No, that's what I'm saying, is they're
Yeah.
gonna get the number they're assigned, which
Yeah.
pretty much happens anyway, but I do see kids go in there and go, oh, I want 31.
Yeah.
So that option's gonna be gone now, just to be clear.
One thing for the forms is I'd love to standardize on a fillable PDF. So I think if we can get
I like that.
the, all the fields, like exactly how you have it laid out, then I can translate it into a fillable PDF that we could then do, because I really, really want that for our registration forms.
Can do that.
Yes.
Yes, please. So, I could do it, or you could do it, or once we,
So
we
everything's
can align,
digital.
yeah, we can align on the, language and the fields and everything through the shared doc, and then just translate it to a fillable PDF.
As in, that'll be filled out by parents for registration on the website.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that at all for this, but even the sponsor forms, if we just standardize on a format like that, then we can use that for,
I would love
Everything
having
to
just a form you could hit, click, submit.
Yeah.
I don't see it on here, but on the topic that we're on, can we make a motion for future business to, sorry, I'm new at this, for future business to, talk about more communication strategies with the parents and registration, because there seems to be like a miscommunication between some parents and like knowing that sports signups, especially soccer, where it
Yeah.
happens in the summer. Even baseball probably.
That's partly why I'd like to update the website. I know that's
Yeah.
later in the agenda, but people should be able to go to the website and say, oh,
And register
signups
right
are in
there.
this timeline, and then be able to click
100%.
on a fillable form. And
That's how it's
either-
been in every other town I've lived in.
Either be able to submit the form via maybe our email addresses, and then do a Venmo to pay.
So, yeah.
Say what to include in the field for Venmo, to
Yes.
say your child's name, what grade, and then
when I met with,
a
Jen,
preferred coach, maybe, I don't know, like, yeah.
Yeah, we need to have
Well,
the preferred.
we can
coach
figure
line
all that
item.
out later, but I'd like for it all to be online so people can just see when.
when I met with Jennifer and Kelly and Sam, Jennifer had mentioned that Venmo wouldn't be an option for us to collect the
I was wondering
registration
that.
fees. She said that, we can definitely digitize and make it easier to do the fillable PDFs, but that Venmo couldn't be on the table for,
I was wondering that because it's a
Did
Did she,
private
did she
entity.
have a reason for that? Because I know other towns are actually doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
she didn't go into specifics with me, so we might have
Okay,
to
so
ask,
maybe
but it
we'll-
was just that,
Go back and.
that wasn't an option for this year.
And they are a merchant. so-
Follow-up item, just like double verify.
Yeah.
I
Does the
can-
town have Venmo?
Yes, I saw
You
an
can
account.
create one.
I know we can, I'm just saying is there's.
I thought we had an
We
account
don't
set
do-
up.
We don't do online tax payments or anything like that, and so I think that it was just,
It's a payment processor issue, probably.
yeah, so, I don't know, I believe that it's been brought up and,
I remember her shooting it down, maybe it's just worth verifying. So I have a running email going to Sam to go to Jen right now. Bullet number 2 is follow-up on Venmo. and
I will say it's
for sure
2020.
that we can't do that, or any other sort of payment like PayPal or whatever.
It's 2023, it should be easier for
We
people
shouldn't be
to pay.
writing checks 10 years
I know
ago.
other towns in Maine are doing it, so there
Yeah.
can't be a statute against
Right.
it.
Yeah.
So there must be some
it would
other-
be, interesting to see if the other towns that are doing it, kind of like how they handle it, maybe we could, so I know that the answer was like a definitive no, but we could definitely put together a business case to say like,
Yeah.
here are the towns that are doing it and here's how that works, and I don't know all the conversations that have happened before, and I know we're coming in as like a,
I'm gonna ask Joe, who's over in Massabesic now, and he could probably give me an answer on.
Yeah,
how it
I
works
was
for them.
wondering if it's possible for us, if we're looking at other rec departments, to like reach out to them, and like what authority you have to reach out and just be like, hey, like, I see you guys are doing this, like, can you give me a little more information? Because I thought about doing that with York, because they have a much larger rec department.
I have to tell you, I did a lot of research when I was putting together some of the stuff I sent out this week to other towns, just to see what they were doing. And
Yeah.
I didn't really recreate any of this. I pulled the
Reinvent the
best,
wheel.
what I thought were the best items from each one. So I
Yeah.
think we should be able to reach out to them and say, how did you do this? Like Venmo. Is there
Also,
something you had to set up for
like
it?
Nason Center and Sanford Sports, they have, the kind of like online management system, so it's the SaaS package for
Yeah.
managing all of those items, so it would be worth putting together a business case to say, here's what other towns are doing, here's what we'd like to do, here's what it would cost, and what
To get a
effort
SaaS
would be
established
involved,
would be
just
great.
to get, because it would be nice to do those online registrations, but I know that there's trepidation about that, so we should where we
It'd
would
be
have to
nice
do
to have
legwork
both
to do it.
options. It's kind of,
Yeah.
I think everyone's argument here.
Yeah, and as a baby step, if we could digitize the forms and make them fillable PDFs and put them on our existing website while we, figure out what's possible, then that I think will make a big difference.
Follow-on question to that, are we gonna offer a hybrid where you can either fill out a paper form, submit it to the town hall, or do the
I think
online
that's-
PDF, or
They'll-
do we
Yeah,
pigeonhole?
we have to always allow for
Allow
that.
that?
I think
So then,
yeah.
that implies that whoever's getting the paper forms does have to document them centrally
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, okay.
Yeah, we had talked about, at the meeting that I had earlier this week about the treasurer stuff so right now the paper forms go into a binder that's given to the coaches because it's got emergency contact information and allergies and medical stuff.
Yep.
But we talked about, having it go through the treasurer role first to validate that we've collected registration fees for everybody and to consolidate that and then give the binder, but also keep a copy that we have, because I think the coaches have the originals right now.
Yeah.
And then they come back to us and get stored in a safe or whatever here. But,
The treasurer is volunteering herself to inventory all these.
yeah, because I want to do the registration numbers too, and and then they'll be stored on site here, and then,
Anne's a data person.
Just
I can
making
tell.
yeah,
sure.
I like the data, with like
all
multiple
these
years of
charts and
data.
stuff, yeah. I love it.
So,
Just making
We're getting
sure
short on time, by the way.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know if we would, I think as a first step, we can't submit it to the town or to our emails from there, but we could have it so that they could fill it out online, print it, and bring it as, so I think we have to do it in baby steps.
Yeah.
So, so we do an action item to review the forms online via online collaboration and then figure out, like Jen, I don't know if you and I want to work together to get them to the fillable PDFs, and then we could, prep that for the next meeting to talk about it again.
Yeah, so you're recommending, rather than approving the forms now as is, doing the Google Docs editing, and then if we get it to its most perfect form, bring it to the next meeting, vote, say we approve these, and then we can put them into a PDF
I think,
and
sorry,
post them to the webpage. Does that sound like an acceptable timeline?
Yeah.
yeah. I think one of the things with taking payments online is like the secure payment process, so I think that might be an issue with the town, maybe.
That's what.
That's why I think Venmo is the workaround for that.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to have it online, it's through,
And you can scan a QR code, it's just like
yeah,
super simplified.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we should, so, yeah, action item
And
for
there's
that.
no extra handling of money either that way.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Is there a third process item for what you were talking about? Then specifying if it's a hybrid solution or if it's all gonna be print out at this point? Because it's an editable PDF, but then are we asking them to all print them out and bring it to the town hall?
I think we need to talk to Jen to see what's
Yeah.
doable on the website
should follow up
first.
on that in
If
the
we
next
can
meeting.
have a submit button on the website, then we could do a fillable form online and just submit. But if we can't pay through some
has-
digital mean, and people still have to come here
who
to
runs
pay,
the
so.
website, who has access to like the database or whatever?
It's a guy, I don't know.
A guy.
Jen,
Yeah,
Jen
it's-
actually mentioned that we could do some training to get website training.
I
so
know
we might-
WordPress, it's a WordPress
I know
site,
WordPress
so
as
yeah,
well,
we
so
could
that's-
definitely update it ourselves if we could have access to just
I can make
that.
it look real nice.
I'd like to be able to do that.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could,
So-
update that section and then on our own. That'd be great.
Follow on action item number 3,
Download a sweet
to
thing.
email Jen Rue, which is the capabilities of whether we can submit the form online or if we have to print it out. Is that a follow on item I need to find out from her?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just have to get the domain name, registrar information and figure out like what server, who hosts the servers, like.
yeah, they'd probably give us access to the existing, WordPress site just with a role that only had access to our section and pages.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we would probably have to get approval
Admin privileges.
unless we could get our own like separately hosted domain, if that's possible, but.
So is it fair to say, just to address the agenda, all of the forms, including the website updates, the Town of Acton Recreation Committee signed advertising sponsorship agreement, all of the sponsorship applications and the coaching application, all of the ones that we would post online, we will use Google Docs to do some editing and get it into its most perfect form and then
Yes.
bring to the next meeting.
Sounds
She
good.
already-
Is
she
that a
already
good
took-
way to close out that
Yeah,
item,
yeah, I think
agenda
that's
item? Okay.
Ann already took care of it, she posted them already, though, there.
Now we just have to review and comment and,
Yep.
We're just agreeing that we will
Yeah.
Yeah,
come back next time with the most perfect
Perfect.
documents.
yes.
And once those Google Docs are edited and we all agree that they're good to
So the
go, we'll
content
make them
of them.
editable PDFs.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I'm getting a follow-up answer on whether we can submit them at that point, because then they'll have to maintain those somewhere,
I think we
Awesome.
could maintain them
or we could,
if
but
we have access to the web page and
Yeah.
editing access, we could maintain them.
and then we also have to make sure that, when they're submitted, if we aren't allowed to accept those online payments, that payment is received. So as part of that receipt process, to make sure that we've got kind of the checklist of people that we need to collect.
that's the whole haze right now of that last part of.
Yeah, I think, so Jen definitely said it's a small town, people can come in and drop off the amount or pop it in the mail, if online payments is not an option, so.
Okay, the next thing I have on there is a soccer tournament.
Sam said she texted you a to-do list, I wrote it down as well.
Yep, okay.
How do we want to knock this out?
Let's go through the to-do list and see if we need to assign
That whole
things.
blurb.
Oh, I got more. She said, texted me more, and I'm like, I've already written, I was like, okay.
Do you want to go over all the to-do list then?
I can, I don't mind. The first one she had on there is asking if we can add middle school as well
To the tournament?
to the tournament.
Meaning 6th or 8th grade?
Yep.
I don't see a problem with it if we get an answer for how many teams very soon.
I think there would be a problem with it because they only have one of those large fields at the
Right.
elementary school for that.
We're
So
using-
that would interfere with our 5th and 6th grade use
We're
of that
using,
field.
we're using the large field for both 5th and 6th and
Yeah.
3rd and 4th. My tentative idea was to split it in half. And one side is 3rd and 4th, the other side is 5th and 6th, and we can measure accordingly. Because we chalked out the other fields and got permission from the school.
Meaning the smaller kid fields.
The smaller kid
The
fields, so 1st and 2nd and kiddie, when
Yeah.
you're walking in front of the baseball diamond is the kiddie, and it's just
Yeah.
a square there.
Okay.
And then,
Down
on the
hill.
other side of that is the 1st and 2nd, and it's slightly bigger and just another square. The school approved us last year, I don't see why they won't this year, I'm pretty sure they will.
Okay.
Of us chalking that, not chalking, spray paint chalk, because
Yeah.
then it disappears in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I think those will be fine. So the only thing we have to decide, and this is tentatively what I'm proposing, is splitting the field in half and going lengthwise.
The large
on each
field?
half.
Yeah.
And we have to bring goals there, so that's another part.
Ooh, that's, I don't, how are we gonna do that?
We used last year, they have backup goals, and they're the full-size ones. And all we did was put it on each half, and we used
Yeah.
the halfway mark for the field. And that was both the field for the 3rd and 4th and the 5th and 6th graders. You notice the 3rd and 4th graders got kind of gassed, and they looked at a giant middle school goal,
It
so
was-
we can definitely do it better this year.
So I think the answer to the question might be no for this year.
Yeah.
But maybe we could figure out schedule-wise next year if we could incorporate the middle school teams and invite the neighboring towns' middle
And
school.
is the tournament 2 days? Cause last year it was 2
It
days
was-
and it was pushed back to 1 day, right?
So,
One day last year.
I know, hold on, I had that here somewhere.
I don't know if
I
we
think
need
we
2
can better
days.
answer that if we know how many teams are currently participating.
She sent me, she has, U6 has 3 teams, U8 has 3 teams, U10 has 5
Does that
teams.
include Acton? Okay.
Yep, and U12 has 4 teams, and that includes our kids.
Can you go, so after U8 was 3, U6
Yep.
was 3? The other
U10 has 5,
5, okay.
and then U12 has 4.
Well, this will be tricky.
Yeah, can we maybe send an email out for that? Like to get the numbers? Might ask-
I can ask Sam to,
If those numbers are final. Oof. And we started at 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
8 AM?
Yeah, 8 AM.
Yeah, so we'll have to get the field set up a couple days prior.
Yep, that's what we did
Well,
last.
wouldn't it also matter for whether we need the food truck for 2 days versus
It-
one?
Yeah.
it's definitely
There's
better, yeah.
there's a cost to that.
Yeah.
because Sam had put in her notes that,
U6 and U8 we can absolutely do in one day. that's 3
Yeah,
teams.
that's what-
It'd be a round robin of a total of 3 games. I think that would be just fine.
I don't think the food truck costs us anything for them to come.
No, I don't think.
No, okay.
We did a, last year, I
They had to
thought,
pay, right?
They had to-
And
they
then
had to pay,
they don't
yeah.
have to pay this year from what we had said at the last meeting, I think.
But I think, I wonder if they've already been told it's 2 days? That they'd be booked out for 2 days, because they have to probably schedule it.
for
right?
U10, having 5 teams, we would need 2 days, unless people
Okay.
want to be there till 6 or 7 PM, which I don't think they want to.
No.
Because Sam texted me a tentative schedule. If we did 1 day, we could keep them from 8 AM till 7 PM, and I didn't respond because it was right before the meeting, but my knee-jerk reaction is, heck no.
Is it,
So,
That's
is it
a
also,
lot, that's a
is it
lot.
also an event where we should put out a PSA for volunteers?
yes,
Something-
that's on, we need to figure out volunteers and a PSA now. I don't know how to put out a
And
PSA.
refs, do we have refs?
We don't have any refs
Is
at
that
all.
Daniel?
We don't, so the guy, Chris, that's been kind of our dependable ref for basketball, who's reffing this weekend, I don't think he's available for the tournament weekend, so that really sucks. We might have Dan Norwood, who's a certified ref, so he's gonna be a huge part of this, if we can get him.
Okay.
He's gonna be extremely gassed. He runs with those
We're
kids.
really busy, yeah.
Outside of Dan Norwood, we have a need for refs as well, so
Okay.
wherever we can find them, call a friend of a friend. I
So
don't know how
you're
to
gonna
find
paint
more
the
refs.
field, right?
I got the
You're
field
gonna paint it,
covered,
okay.
chalking, like, that's me,
Tuesday.
possibly Ian and John. We all got that covered. That's
And
check.
who is
check mark.
moving the goals?
We'll do it.
That's a question mark, but
We did it last year. Remember, we had to carry him from the side off to the,
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. Okay.
it was a pain. It wasn't easy, but
We just,
John and I can help too and move
Yeah.
a trailer if that's helpful to
Yep.
haul it.
so we're decided that we'll probably have to move at least one set of the goals.
yeah.
And then we have a full-size set, so the middle school goals, they're backup ones. Should we use that for the 5th and 6th? Because we don't have 2 sets of goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we only need to then
think
move
so.
the little kid goals, right? The small ones?
The 1st and 2nd grade, and then the
So we
pre-K
wouldn't
and
need to
K.
move the big ones?
I think we do need to move the big
we do.
ones for the 3rd and 4th graders.
Were you talking about the ones from our field?
Yeah.
Yes,
Over.
How are we gonna transport those?
trailer.
Trailer, and my grandfather, it's higher to pick it up, but it does tilt, as a pickup truck that has a dump body that you could tilt and we could slide it up on and then put it back down and
We have a
tie it to
five-
get it over to.
5x10 trailer.
As long as we can strap down a
Do you remember
little bit of it.
Do you remember the dimensions of those? I forget what
I
they.
don't, no, 6 by 6 by 12.
A 6
6
by
by 6
12.
by
I think it'll,
So the 12 is what we,
the lengthwise will hang off on either side of her trailer, but
yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Drive
We can
So
strap
how
it
do we
down.
coordinate that between now and tournament time?
Text message. I don't know.
Email.
Emails?
Email.
Email, that's right. We'll use our rec
You know how to
emails.
get mail forwarding from Round Cube to my Gmail because and I can set it up to where I can email from the rec email, but I'm never gonna check Round Cube. Like I just,
Yeah, I set it up as an IMAP on my,
okay, that's what I have to do. Okay, I thought so.
or POP3.
That way you don't have to go to Round Cube to check your Acton Rec email because like I'm gonna forget to do that. But I'm always checking my Gmail.
Talking
So
about forwarding emails or?
yeah,
Okay,
So
so
are you
I
gonna
think,
measure them? So you're going tonight to paint fields anyway. Can you measure the goals
yeah, I'll remeasure.
to see how big they are so then we can know how big a trailer we would need?
I have the receipt from us buying it for
Okay.
the town. It's 6 by 6 by 12.
Okay.
6 high, 6 depth, 12 wide. What was I gonna say? So we're check mark on chalking fields, we're check mark on goal setup.
Goals.
Are we agreed that the 5th and 6th grader goals are gonna be the full-size middle school goals?
Yeah.
It might be a shock, but we don't really have a better
It's all
option
right.
as far as I know.
we got Rebecca in goal. It's good.
Yep,
She can cover the ground.
okay, so we're good on goals. What else?
We're gonna have a food truck, right? That's been reserved already.
Yes.
So we're just finalizing which teams are coming?
Was it just one food truck or were multiple?
She has one set, and then she had a question mark to ask everybody if we thought we needed another food truck to come in.
The one food
I
truck
like
was-
options, but
Options is always nice. That one food, what is the food truck again? The name?
The Mel's?
The one we had last year?
Yep.
They were banging.
Yeah, it was good.
They were like,
stadium
They
food.
were on point.
they were on point. I didn't hear a single complaint. Everyone was happy with them. It'd be nice to have another one, but I don't know if it's necessary, so that's where I stand. if anyone else has an opinion.
I forget how long the lines were for the food truck. Was it pretty
4 or
quick?
5 deep. It was
Yeah.
pretty, they did a pretty good job. I don't remember anyone standing in line for over 10 minutes and being like, oh my God.
Was her thought on another food truck or like a dessert truck, like Kona Ice or an ice cream truck or
She
something?
did mention.
Yeah, Kona Ice
Because
is
before
mentioned.
Kona
that would be
Ice.
different, just saying.
Right.
Just saying.
I can
what's that-
see if she
what's-
can get
There's a
him.
brownie truck in Exeter. He makes all those crazy brownies.
Some ice
Cliffs,
cream
I think.
trucks.
To-do item,
I'm
I'm gonna send out an email this weekend if these numbers are confirmed, using our Acton Rec emails, of the proposed tournament brackets. That'll take up 2 days. U6, U8 will be done in 1 day. U10 has 5 teams, U12 has 4. I say we carry the finals games over to Sunday so that we're not there till 7 PM.
Okay.
If we can swing that, then we'd have to have 2 different mini ceremonies. One for day 1 would be for the U6, U8. The second ceremony would be for U10, U12. It was super informal last year. It was Sam coming out, thanking the teams for being there, and then handing out trophies, and that was it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to centralize it more this time, so we
Didn't feel
have,
like much like a tournament. I didn't know what was going on.
yeah. If we had a speaker system in a central area where everyone was gathered last
Right.
year. I think it was by the first, second grade field. My only suggestion is we make the ceremony slightly more official and have the handouts there so that it's more centralized. That's the only suggestion I have.
Have an usher and have. We're dressed up.
Ian in a butler suit.
Yeah.
We can print out schedules to give in advance and post
The oth-
those to the.
And that's where the centralized area, like, that we could have the schedule sitting there, and then people can just grab a flyer.
Yeah, it's actually a good idea. So develop some type of diagram of where the fields are too, so that,
Yeah.
because I think that was a question last year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know which field this is. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was
what's
very
field
confusing.
one, so
No
maybe
less than
creating a.
20,000 parents
Yeah,
ask
just
me
like
where
a-
I'm supposed to
So
go.
let's
Yeah.
create a diagram
Yeah.
and send that out so that when they get the schedule, they'll know which field they're on.
Diagram
Also,
of field.
just because I thought of it, at the soccer tournament, should we have like forms or like, hey, sign up for basketball? That's next. you
That's a
know?
good idea.
I see that on the agenda.
Having the basketball forms there are wonderful idea.
Just to be like, hey guys, basketball's coming up. Don't
So we formalize all the means of how we're communicating out
If we-
signups.
If we can use like each sporting season as like the precursor to the next season, like, hey, by the way, don't forget, you know?
We're not there on the agenda item, but
Yeah.
the soccer communication, like, a lot of people fell through, and I heard through the woodworks that there was like Facebook posting of people being like, I didn't know soccer was here, and what the heck? I got texts from 2
Yeah.
parents that usually sign up that were like, hey, what the heck, what gives? And
Yeah,
was
I
like,
had a few parents asking me, they're like, did you hear about, I go, yeah.
Yeah, we're
It's
starting.
over.
I feel like one thing that we need to on the website is an email newsletter sign up, or we should take all the email addresses that we've collected
I like that.
on the forms and send like an opt-in
done that yet.
to say like, hey, do you want to know about Acton Rec updates, so that they opt in if they want to, and then we can send out, hey, signups or,
Acton Rec newsletter, opt-in, awesome.
That's a great idea.
Dang.
Okay, so the other thing she had on here, is to, have the 3-4 games in a row and then the 5-6 games for the tournament, or mix them, have like a 3-4 and a 5-6.
I think we're doing it at the same time, aren't we?
Same time,
Yeah,
because
we're
they're
doing
gonna
the
be
same time.
next to each other. and
Okay.
It's just.
They'll be in different fields anyway.
There'll be
Same.
different fields right next to each other. but
Okay.
The only
it'd be
thing,
Crazy to stagger those, because that's a total of 9 teams.
the only thing with that is people with multiple kids like myself can't like watch both games. And I don't know how that would work if we're coaching 2 teams, like we coach 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th.
Have to split them up. We'll
That's
do
what I
our,
have
we'll
the
do our,
same issue.
Yeah.
we'll do our best to make those schedules not overlap, but I'll do a tournament bracket tonight and send it out by the end of this weekend, and
Cool. We'll review it
yeah,
and
then we
see.
should try to review and look at schedule, like, just to see if there's anything that looks like.
Yeah,
it'll be
you
a
have kids,
nightmare.
you have June and Ben, so, and
Yeah.
Annette.
At least Ben and Annette are on the same team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the 3s and the 5s are ugly, because they're gonna have to be a bye, so,
Why? They
If
don't
those
have
are-
anyone to,
I mean, it's simple bracket ordering. If you have 3 teams, 1 team has to be a bye unless you have everyone play each other, and that's just too much.
well, then how do you determine who's first if not everyone has played each other?
That's why it's gonna be ugly. We did buys last year, at least,
So to determine who has the bye week or the bye day, Are we taking the record for the season, like from the different towns?
I don't know, I have to think on it. This is not the numbers I was hoping for, but,
Is it more or less than you thought?
more on the U10, but I thought we were gonna have like a tentative 4 for each-ish. Maybe like 2 for one of them, but 4 to 6, like, was kind of the numbers I was hoping for. 5s and 3s are ugly.
Is U10 third and fourth?
Yeah, yep.
I was doing the math.
Yeah.
So are those final, by the way? 3, 3, 5, 4?
This is what she has right now for teams.
Okay. All right.
So possibly it could go up. Hey, mine was
We're at
on
1
What time
hour,
is it?
6:00.
6:06.
We're cruising, we're doing pretty well.
Anything else for tournament, the to-do list that she sent you?
No, that was it.
Probably tell them to bring their own chairs, because we did not have seating
Ooh.
last year, I remember.
We had bleachers on the big field, I think, right? We had one set of
We had one
bleachers,
set.
and they were wet.
So
and a
communications out to the rec directors for each. What is gonna be on that communication? Bring chairs,
Yeah,
tournament bracket, what else?
that was a big item for my parents.
That newsletter thing, I really,
Elderly people can't stand for all day.
No.
that newsletter thing's a great idea, and I wonder if we can get that done sooner than
Yeah.
later, because it would be great for the
I think that
tournament.
should be lumped in with the website updates that we want to
Yeah,
do.
the only thing is that all the coaches have the forms with the email addresses on them. If we wanted to have people just opt in and say like, hey, you signed up to get updates from the rec,
Post-
do you want to get them?
We can post
And
that on
then-
the Facebook, be like, hey, the Town of Acton website is forming a newsletter to keep you updated, and
Yeah.
then be like, please go sign up, or please opt in.
Then we do
That's-
need some kind of submit button.
Yeah.
If you want to click on it to opt in, right? You have to put in your email
I
address
don't
and
have, do you have
submit.
access to any of the site stuff?
I don't have
Any of the back
access to any of the town site
Okay.
stuff. I mean, we could do a quick MailChimp,
Yeah,
but I don't know if that will be frowned upon without,
going through
Well,
the
it's
selectmen and stuff.
yeah, I mean, we could probably do we could do it for free, or we could email people, but I don't know that we'll be able to pull it up by the tournament. I don't
Yeah.
think, because we would have to collect all the forms and,
I think once we get website training, we could, because then if we can update it regularly, we can just put banners up saying, hey,
Yeah.
registration's going on, or starting this day.
Yeah.
Ending this time. At a minimum, even if we can't do it in a newsletter, at least someone could be like, I'm just gonna go to the webpage and have it be there
Yeah.
when signups are for things. Okay, do we have anything left to do for the,
For the tournament,
For the
I'm
tournament?
sending a communications out to the rec directors ASAP. I guess Sam will do it.
so you're gonna send a summary to Sam to send to the other rec
Yep, and I
directors?
can CC all of us. Bring chairs, tournament bracket, what it looks like, days and times. So it'll be Saturday, Sunday, most likely is what it is looking like. The food truck or trucks, availability options. Some basic rule or etiquette for the field that we sent out last year, like service animals only, pick up after yourself, whatever we sent out. It was like a small bolded list.
We have
That-
porta potties there?
Yes, they will be
I can't
there.
remember.
yeah, there are, at least they're there for soccer now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Centralized, where the centralized location is for check-in, which is where we'll have flyer handouts and a PSA
Yeah.
speaker system. And then the size of the fields and the goals for each age group, so that doesn't shock them.
If we
And the
could,
diagram.
And the diagram,
Of
so
where
that
those
like,
are.
that flyer we're gonna hand out, we could just do a small,
Yeah.
and
the
on,
last thing, ceremony times.
yeah, that works. On the same note of the flyer that we're gonna hand out for basketball and stuff, tumbling, I assume too. If we can get a newsletter set up before then, we can put that on there, like, hey, sign up for our newsletter to get more updated information. If we can get that done before the tournament,
Done before the tournament, okay.
yeah.
The newsletter opt-in option?
Yeah, like a newsletter opt-in. I don't know what chain that would have to pass through to get approved, but
Should we just put an email address, like rec1@actonmaine.org as, email us if you want to be part of the newsletter? Acton 1, Rec 1,
I think
I don't know.
Sam is rec@actonmaine.org, so we could use her for now.
an opt-in would probably be more, I would think, more streamlined.
Yeah, an opt-in would be great
If
if we
they could
had
type their
the,
email opt-in and then nobody has to do anything else.
That would be great.
It would just create a list.
Can we do it through Facebook?
I hate Facebook for communications.
Yeah, but I mean, get the opt-in. I think that you can,
Yeah,
you
that's-
can create,
Put it out there and just say, hey, opt in here.
I don't know. I can research some options and send out an email, but I don't know what we're able to do.
Do we have, yeah, like for as far as getting an opt-in for a newsletter, do we have to get that approved by the selectmen?
Okay. A question to ask, say.
It sounds like
Jen.
we might not have that figured out before the tournament is kind of
When is the tournament actually?
October
14th.
14th.
or something.
Oh, 14th, that's a couple weeks.
Yeah. We're not gonna meet again before then.
Yeah.
So maybe an action item to opt in.
Yeah,
I can research options for newsletter management and stuff, for the next meeting.
Okay, perfect. I don't have anything else
So
for the
we good for
tournament,
the
other
tournament?
than medals. I think she said she was purchasing medals and she was waiting till we had finality. So if we do have finality on the teams and a roster, we need the exact numbers ASAP so we can order the medals.
We're
not
doing-
this last minute.
these medals?
Yeah.
Are we doing trophies or medals?
I like medals for
She,
soccer.
she said medals when I talked to her last, is the idea.
Are they gonna say like first place, second
Yes,
place?
so
That
next thing is those medals last year.
They were all
um,
the same, weren't they?
They were all the same,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't really say anything, so we need to put at least Acton tournament, the date or year, like, just something.
First
ordered
place
those yet?
team,
So it's
second
just not a
place.
throwaway medal, like, give it, like, let's add something to give significance to it,
Have they been ordered? Or,
because we're
And
waiting
we're
on.
2 weeks out, right?
yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yep,
That's not much time, like they should be already ordered.
by the end of this weekend, so we need to, like, that might be priority one after this meeting, is if she has the number of teams finalized, that means rosters should be about finalized, we gotta put this order in by, like, the end of the weekend. Do you guys, can we put a 10, what should we say on it? Acton,
Acton,
Acton Recreation Soccer or something like that.
and probably, do we want to put a year or not? Because they could be evergreen or we could use
definitely
them.
put a year, 2023, but we called the
Are you saying
tournament.
do put a year and don't put a year?
I was wondering if we don't put a year and then like the ones that, but if we order some in the future, they might look different, so I don't know if that matters.
We got cute last year and wanted to like do an acronym of like Acton Superstar Soccer, like, you know, but we didn't do that, but we did like, we called it something last year, we called it a tournament, and we said that, but then it wasn't on the medals.
But if we're ordering just enough for the people we have anyways, we could put the year on it. 'Cause
Yeah, I like
we
that.
shouldn't have any left over at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah, you're right.
So,
Do we want a cool, catchy name, or are we just saying
2023.
Acton Soccer Tournament 2023?
Acton Championship,
Right, soccer tournament, or something like that.
Acton Rec Soccer Tournament 2023.
Yep,
And then first place, second place, third place.
yep.
And then the rest are unplaced, because that's gonna be a very specific amount. Because U6, U8 will have first, second place, third place.
Could we just do first place, second place, and then just have a plain medal for all the participants?
If-
For people that didn't place, so that they had something to walk away with?
If we're good with that.
Yeah.
First and second.
Is everyone okay with that? That way they still get something saying they
Something.
I'm
participated?
okay with that. I'm sure afterwards we're gonna hear first place,
I
second
think
place.
it would,
what
but
the
I
heck,
think
but
people would complain if the other kids got nothing, if they didn't place in first or second.
I'm sure someone's gonna chirp about first, second place.
first
but
place, second
I-
place, and superstar medals. That way it says something.
First place, second place, and does
You're
it say
awesome.
anything on the other medals?
You're awesome.
I know this seems tedious, but
It would
No.
just say
The
Acton
Acton-
Recreation Soccer Tournament 2020.
23.
It should say, like, if we have first place, second place, it should be like Acton Recreation 2023, but like, I don't know, like participant
Or like athlete.
athlete. Yeah, something that makes them feel like, I like that.
I like athlete.
Okay,
so tentatively athlete for now. And Acton Recreation Soccer Tournament or Acton Rec Soccer Tournament? I know it's kind of
it would
finicky,
be
but
Acton Recreation Soccer.
Depends how much you can
Rec
fit on that little
soccer,
medallion.
that's what I'm saying is I think Acton. Rec.
Athlete 2023.
Now, should we have the Messi
Yeah, I
Award
do
for the
rec.
best player and the Pulisic Award for the, I'm just-
The middle school team
Does
hands
that
out
close out the
sunglasses
tournament?
for the MVP of
Oh,
like the
yeah.
practice and the
Submit Acton
game.
Rec Soccer Tournament, next line 2023. And then first, second place or athlete. Okay, I think I don't have anything else.
Okay,
Okay.
so move on to calendar. Did that get posted?
I don't think it was posted to the Facebook group, but, Sam said she sent the link out to the coaches, and then I have this printed version, so I gave Kayla, printouts for her age group, for her team and the other teams, and Ian for third and fourth and fifth and sixth, and I'll give Jenny and Bruce theirs, so we can hand those out, and then, maybe
Teacher.
for the next week's game, if we get everything sorted out for the tournament, I can also, I'll add it to the version that's online that they can scan the QR code to get to, and we could maybe bring a printout of just that tournament schedule to the game before the
And
tournament.
post it to the Facebook page.
Yeah, I don't know how to post it to the Facebook page.
I think
so-
Sam's the only one that can post to the
Okay.
Facebook
She
page.
might be the only one, yeah.
Could send it to her to post.
Okay, I'll send an email to Sam and copy all of us, with some draft text and links.
Okay, so we all set on calendar then?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is the town email addresses, which we got.
Yep.
I responded to
I think we
Jennifer.
could close that out.
And then, the next one was the code of conduct, the rules and the policies that we were supposed to check in on.
So I took, kind of a mishmash of a few different codes of conduct that I had found for the parent code of conduct. I don't know if you noticed, at least in the policy, there were two separate. There's a Town of Acton code of conduct for elected officials and, I think employees, which I put in the policy that we have to abide by, which is different from this parent code of conduct, which I took from like SSYAA, I took from like Lee Mount Vernon in Virginia, because there were some really good ones there.
Every parent for SSYA signs one, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I
it's-
did
it's-
have one
it's
update.
not- It's not like unprecedented to ask every parent participating to sign a code of conduct. It seems pretty standard fare for.
When you're registering your child, you
Yeah.
sign that, yeah.
Yep, and I made it so that it's kind of one page too.
Okay.
I did have one thing I want to put on the back. I did say if there was some suboptimal conduct, that it would be the rec committee that would kind of essentially do a preliminary inquiry and then decide like what happens. And here I said the appeal would also go to the rec committee. I'd like to update that to say that an appeal would go to the select
Selectmen.
board.
Yeah.
Because I think appealing to the same committee is not.
Yeah.
That's like
A
a
good
district
idea.
court appealing to itself. It doesn't really
Yeah,
make sense.
so I'm gonna update that and then we can post it to the Google Docs for other people to take a look at. I mean,
So then my
get
question,
feedback on it.
my question is, how is each parent signing it? Does it get stapled to like?
It would
the-
be with all the registration forms, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Can we agree that this is something we should do?
Yes.
Given
Get
some
the
of the,
most perfect
Yeah.
form by next meeting.
right,
So we all need to look in and put our edits in and we'll bring the most perfect version by next meeting.
so at least we agree that we would like a code of conduct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that
Board
something we
members.
have to set a motion for?
And we agree that we would want to be the first level arbiters of potential conflicts. I know in the past, I think we've been suboptimal in conflict resolution for things that have happened with the rec. So is that something we want to keep in here? As the rec committee would first kind of deliberate and see if we can solve an issue for something that happens during
I
a
think
rec
so.
event.
Like,
And then
it's-
if it needs to be elevated to the select board, we would actually decide that this should probably go
Yep.
to the select board.
It
Can we-
makes sense as far as standard chain of command to me. If it's rec-related, we first, as members, talk about it, and if it gets out of hand or we disagree a lot, then kick it up.
Yeah,
And I don't know if the code of conduct would necessarily go exactly with the registration form, or maybe like for uniform handout or something like that too, I don't know.
That's what
if
I'm
it's,
also wondering about, like, what is the most.
For the
optimal
middle
time?
school, usually the registration is first, and then you kind of get the paperwork with all the code of conduct stuff at the first practice and stuff, I don't know. But we could talk about that, it still would be signed, I just don't know if it would,
finalize
I think my only thing is I don't want it to surprise anyone. This is
yeah.
something.
Standard
new.
fare.
This is something new,
Yeah.
so
So if it was in the,
even
With
if
the
we put on
packet.
the registration form that we are requesting parents sign a code of conduct so that they know it's coming.
You don't want people to like freak out and
They
be
don't
like,
want
"Oh, what
people to
is
be, what's this? I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
signing this, like, yeah,
But it is standard fare in most other towns.
it is.
So a
It's not like a legally binding contract,
No.
it just kind of lets them know,
Yeah.
like, these are the behaviors we expect, and if there are issues, we're gonna decide.
And maybe on the registration form, it's like, by signing this, you agree to this code of conduct, sort of, where it's like part of the registration form.
Yeah, yep.
So we're gonna get the most perfect form of the code of conducts by next meeting. We will also decide by next meeting
And the next meeting, we'll bring the finalized document.
if we're
For
alluding
submission.
to it in the sign up and then a final form is signed later, we'll figure out.
I don't
that.
know if we have to have this approved by the select board or not. I don't know if this is technically like a policy item that they were gonna do this, so
Okay,
I think we probably need to ask Jen Rue whether that needs to be approved by the select board, or if we can approve it next
Item-
meeting to be included with future registrations.
item number 4, to Genru via Sam, do we need to get these code of conducts approved by the selectmen? Code of conducts approval. And then we'll make a final decision next meeting of when to include them, whether it's an initial registration or around uniform handout time. Seems like you're leaning toward initially. at
I'd
least
like
alluding
initial
to it.
registration, cause it's new. In the future, we could probably do it, you know, first practice or something like that, but.
Okay. Code of conducts.
And we can just keep that in mind as we're editing the docs and figuring out where it makes sense. It's good to think through it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing was the policy. I know it was 8 pages, so I don't know that everyone's read it. It was a first draft. I like that it's on Google Docs, so we can kind of go through it. I don't know that we have time to go through it, like, item by item right now.
Probably not right now.
Yeah, we should probably just include that with the other documents that we're going to review to then
Most perfect form.
talk
Yes.
about next meeting.
The most perfect version of it
This
by
one I
next
did
meeting.
put, needs to be approved by the select board, because it kind of demonstrates how we plan to organize ourselves, how we plan to run meetings, how we plan to approve things. I do think that there might be some things that we might disagree on, like I think the committee should approve purchases, and then Sam has the authority to purchase, but that we should be approving purchases.
Everyone's gonna get a chance to
like the
submit
shed,
their
yeah.
feedback on Google Drive
Yep.
over the next couple of weeks, so we'll hash out our disagreements or agreements then.
Okay, so we all set with that one then?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the number of past registrations for sports for the.
I included it in the little packet of things, so there's numbers for that, and I'll vet them with or validate them with the, sign-up form, so I'm gonna go, hopefully from July onward, and just double-check the numbers and the registrations, but those are the ones that Sam's been keeping up to date.
So the goal of providing these numbers and data is to determine future interest in certain sports? Is that accurate?
Yeah, and participation overall, and then I think class sizes probably impact some of the registration numbers too, but just knowing what they are will give us more insight into like where our participation is.
Yeah, we had like a 13% increase from last year to this year
It was an
in
overall
baseball,
increase.
which I was surprised, but then it drops as they get older.
Yep.
Yep. It was an overall increase, but it was a drop in the older ages.
And then if we look at root cause analysis, I mean, it could be some like, COVID impact where people weren't into the sports at that point, and then maybe our numbers for the older kids is going to get bigger because we've got a pretty big number in first and second. So if everything trickles through, then participation might increase. And so it still probably is worth talking about, like, do we want to focus on the full-on season, or do we just want to do skills and drills for different sports? But I think we have to take into account those class sizes and.
Okay.
We all set on that one? Okay. And then we had talked about a survey for baseball to try to get those numbers.
Did not, I didn't get to that, so I will draft something up and provide options at the next meeting.
What is the survey for baseball?
It was for us to get to see possible numbers for us to have, to see if like the older kids, if we're not gonna have that much participation here, possibly, us then paying for what we do have to go to, Sanford.
And also we discussed the idea of maybe having clinics here for the older kids instead of having like them play here.
Yeah.
It seems like we have good participation in the younger groups though, which is good to see.
We
So
have
maybe
the pitching machine, so the idea was if we started sending them to Sanford, that we would have a batting cage here.
Yeah,
and
Or
then
just
the
batting
skills and-
clinics, because we have a field.
yeah.
We have a pitching machine and a field, so.
We're making a bigger soccer field because our soccer field's not regulation size.
Yeah, we will, that,
Do we have what type of survey we want to do? Is this like put it on a piece of paper and send it to the school for every kid to bring home?
Is it like, yeah, like, is your kid interested in playing baseball kind
Yeah,
of thing?
is that what we're thinking?
I was thinking of putting together like an online survey that we could send out, but I can put together options for what it might look like for a handout or.
Would it be all sports, like name the sports your child's interested in playing, and like check boxes?
Something like that, yeah.
That way we can get that way it's not just singling out baseball. Like,
Yeah.
they won't think about the sports.
so survey for basketball, baseball, soccer, tumbling and cheer. That's our,
Flag football too, is that?
Flag football.
okay, good, tumbling, cheer, flag football.
And then we could also collect info if there's any other like comment or area of interest, it would be.
Jiu-jitsu.
Comment. And then, so like, okay, cool. Comments for other interests.
That's another thing that we could do, like a Google survey doc on as well, so it.
One of the other ideas I had this past weekend, was even as our kids get older and grow out of the rec, like, it'd be cool to have them come help out as a volunteer coach, assistant coach, be part of the rec in that capacity, just so we have more I mean, they could even help ref or, things like that.
I was thinking of that when I put together the coaching application. We could just have a regular volunteer application. I think
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only real requirement is people need to have like a background check.
We had
To volunteer, so-
practice last night, and we do the scrimmage at the end with the 5th and 6th graders, and there were 9 parents ready to go. I was like, this is awesome.
There you
They were
go.
all on the
Can't-
field ready to go, so.
That's awesome.
I hate to circle back, but for tournament volunteers, how are we soliciting volunteers?
That's a
Could
good
do
idea.
something like a perfect potluck where they have, it's like a free site where you can go in and put time slots and things that you need. So if you have a list of needs, I can put together a draft of a perfect potluck that we could send out to people.
Could we
that
bring a
think might-
QR code for that tomorrow and set it right next to the concession stand for the soccer games tomorrow?
We should also stress if
And have
you're-
it be like a sign up?
I don't know if I won't be able to do it tonight before the
Okay.
first games, but.
we should also stress if people are planning on volunteering that they commit to it and like actually show up
Yeah.
and not bail, because that will be a nightmare if we have a bunch of parents
That
bail.
would be something we should do with a communication plan too, to say like, hey, reminder.
Yeah,
Needs for volunteers. I
So
guess
how are
I
we gonna
gotta,
do it
I gotta bang out what we need and
for
get
volunteers?
with Sam tonight.
how do we
If you send it to me,
solicit?
then I can try to get it done, but I'm going to Portland. I actually have a hard stop pretty soon.
Just
Wanna
gonna
see
say,
Dover.
we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
We're on camera.
But if you send
Jealous.
what the needs are, I can try to, the first game's at 9?
Tomorrow morning, yes.
Tomorrow morning, first one's
It's
night.
at
Alright, I can see if I can,
But the other thing too is if we have something, even if I could, or we could try to push it to the high school and have them put it on the daily like announcements for
Get some,
trying to get some of the high schoolers, cause then they can get their community service hours for it.
yep.
But we're also getting volunteers at the same time.
Tomorrow,
And we have more time to do that too.
Right.
Because we have 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I'm setting out a bracket by the end of this weekend, but I also have to tack down with Sam probably tomorrow, the needs we have for the tournament for volunteers. So I don't know if, and we should be pressuring you to have some, because we don't
I
even know.
would, I
what our
would say,
needs are.
forget that
Okay.
idea, especially if we see if we can get some high school.
Yeah.
okay, and then we can still see what the needs are and then maybe just roll it out.
Yep.
Because we have the games next week, right, before,
I don't think we have games next week, do we? Columbus Day weekend, are there any games?
No, I have it down as a game.
Yeah.
Oh, we
the
have games.
yeah, we do.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
fair enough.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to new business then?
Yes, would be our future meeting date, so when we wanna do our next meeting.
So I put in the policy, and I don't know what you guys think about this, like, the second Friday of every month be like a standing meeting, but it could be any day of the week or any week of the month. And then I put in there that we could call a special meeting, as long as we give 10 days
Yeah.
notice. Just so we have
good.
kind of like a
I
standing.
like Friday too, because it's like the weekend and it's just.
So 27th next month? It's
The
Friday.
second Friday of every month.
Oh, the second Friday.
14th.
So the
That would be the tournament
that'll be
weekend.
the day before the tournament.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
I put it in there as a suggestion. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be like immediate right now, because that's not even approved yet. It's just part of the policy that this is.
Be the following
It
Friday.
could be the third Friday of every month. It could be,
Okay. If we
I
want-
just wanted to avoid potential holiday, because like the Thanksgiving is usually what, the third or fourth?
Yeah,
Like,
third Friday.
I wanted to
Or-
avoid
Thursday.
those, so I thought second Friday or first Friday, something like that might be
Second looks good,
optimal.
Except
Except next
except
week.
So-
October.
Yeah.
except for October, but
So anyway, look at the policy and see if that's the time that, or if we could put vague language in the policy to say like the second week of every month and then decide on a day, I don't know.
I like the second
Second Friday?
And then for next month, do we want to
The
make it the end of the
20th?
month again, or the 20th? Do we want to set tentatively the 20th?
Because we have basketball coming up, so I think we should meet sooner than later next month to
So
kind of
it'd be
discuss that.
the Friday after the tournament then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the 20th,
Let's do that.
5 o'clock. Is 5:15 too late for you guys? Because like I had to fly here after work. I work
That
till
works.
4.
5:15
5:15 is okay.
Mom, you have to watch my children.
So do we want to start in November, like the second Friday of every month? So that would be another holiday weekend, unfortunately. I think that's like Veterans.
We could
Weekend.
do we could do 5 if you guys don't mind if I'm a couple minutes late. We'll start sooner.
I think we could still do the 10th. I don't,
November 10th? Does
Yeah.
anyone have any issue with that? I know it's the beginning of a long weekend.
No, but it's good to have
So-
2 meetings before basketball
Yeah.
starts up.
So we'll say, what did we say, October 20th? And then November 10th.
5:15.
Sure.
Yep.
Yep.
sweet.
Wait, October 20th and then
I have to
No-
leave here in like 7 minutes.
November what?
Okay.
It was November 10.
10.
I think we can wrap this up in 7 minutes. Like, we've covered half the items in new business.
Yep.
We've already, we've already talked about code of conduct for sports. We've already talked about,
So the main Celtics, not to skip over it, just a hard yes from me.
Okay.
If we can have one or 2
100%.
days.
That was fun last year.
So
Yeah.
at least
Yeah, that
one main Celtics.
And now the kids like really know each other, so it's like
And then the same issue with dissemination of information. Like, however we're disseminating those announcements, we need to figure that out. And we
Yep.
can do main Celtics dissemination of information, all that good stuff.
is Boston looking into Boston Celtics too much? Is that too far?
Probably too much.
Yeah.
Too far and too expensive. Main
Yeah.
Celtics was like the sweet spot, in my opinion.
what did we need to discuss for registration forms for sports? Just an update to them?
I think that's what, yeah, that was the only, but we already discussed
Yep,
that
updating.
anyways.
Yeah.
So do we have a registration form that we can work with? We can like.
We have drafts
edit-
of them, they're the electronic ones they're shared on the Facebook page and
Okay.
stuff too, so I
Yeah,
could take a
yeah.
stab at putting that in a Google.
Yeah, put it in a
document.
Google Docs
Yeah.
and we can edit with it.
2 or 3 of them are also hanging off the Acton Rec website already. They just haven't put basketball or baseball up there yet. So eventually, I guess we'll put all the forms there.
Yeah,
Action item for that, we need to add a preferred coach at some point. That won't be viable, but at this point, we have enough secular, like 3 or 4 requests for a specific coach that we can accommodate it. And then we can say in the language, it's not guaranteed you'll get your requested coach, but we can just include it as a line.
So preferred coach and then a code of, like adding a line
Disclaimer.
saying we're gonna have a code of conduct.
Yep, there you
Okay.
and
So
then
then
there's
we're
some
on
changes
to-
to like the emergency, like picking the hospital that you go to, because that's not an option generally, like depending on how acute the injury is, so they're,
And where we are at the time if we're
Yeah.
traveling. Yeah. Okay. So does that mean we're moving on to the Google G Suite account?
Yep.
Is that where we are right now with, because we've done code of conduct and parent code of conduct?
Yep.
Okay.
I did a handout that just shows what, so as a nonprofit, we could get a free G Suite.
Oh, I saw that.
Google Workspace account, so I don't know how we would have to do that going through the town, or if the rec itself is a nonprofit, or if it's the town that's a nonprofit. We also have, it would just provide a centralized place for us to store information, so that could be another thing that we might have to have Sam follow up with Jen on, but
Action item number 5, I am including my email. How do we apply?
So this
for-
is separate from what we're already using with the,
yeah, so,
Okay.
this would be like a town-owned
okay,
Collaborative workspace.
collaborative work, yep, so now we're just using a free version that's not a town-owned collaborative, one, but we can go through and we can group edit these documents and stuff, but we should look into getting that, because it's free. I think that we would not need any additional storage requirements over the free tier, and then if we did, it's $3 per user per month. And so I think there are a lot of features that we could benefit from, and then it also helps with continuity, so if new board members come in, then, you know, we've got everything in one spot, so
Yeah.
it's easier to find
That's
stuff.
actually great.
And I know we're doing the test run with it, with, these documents that we're editing together, and I just think it's a better way to do it than sending it by email and trying to figure out who has the latest
I
version.
have so many emails already that I'm like, I'm like looking through my emails, trying to figure what stuff is.
Yep.
yeah.
We're doing a test run right now.
So we're
as in
asking if
we
we
have a
can-
trial right now?
We don't have a trial, but we're using Google Docs to collaborate on these edits, but it's just not a nonprofit account.
Okay,
So
good.
we're gonna ask Jenru if we can get this.
Is
Yep.
it through
Is
the
that an
town or to the
action?
rec as a non, yeah,
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
nonprofit?
So
Yep.
we're taking, are you gonna ask Jen?
I got
or-
it, it's my fifth
Okay, so that's what
item.
you're doing.
I've
You
got a
guys
running
gotta-
list of what I'm asking Sam to ask Jen.
Okay.
Item number 5 for me.
And then for Acton Recreation Committee website, are we all planning to get the website training? Or
I
do we
know I am.
want certain people?
I would love, it would be great if we could all back each other up to be able to do
Yeah.
edits and stuff.
So maybe we could try to arrange one
Yeah.
training session.
Yep. let's do
Okay.
it.
And is that with the person who currently built the
Believe so.
website?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can chat with them too.
And
If
it-
Sam
it
could
is-
ask if we could just, if they want to lock us down to just our one section, so using role-based access control, we could do that.
Yep.
Is it WordPress based?
Yes, it's WordPress.
Okay, cool.
So we'll see if we can get one training session. Is everyone okay with just coordinating a time over text messages, say,
Yeah.
is everyone available on this day?
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, so we're all set on those?
yep,
Okay, and then, the end of soccer season, Sam, wanted, that's for like the, last day for like the, ceremony and stuff. She asked about doing like the, breakfast buffet again and having it all out so they can come and get it when they can get, and it's not like food-wise regimented, it's there.
I think last year we did it as a potluck as well, lots of people baked items and brought
Yeah,
crock pots and stuff. Is that the intent this year as well?
Assume
Yeah,
so.
okay.
She just said to, the only thing she said was like a breakfast and then having it out so you can go when you're ready and you don't have
Yep.
to.
There's literally only one thing to discuss, is the earlier games, making them hang around for one ceremony for everyone. That's what we did last year, so
Yep.
if that's what we're gonna do, then I guess that's what we're doing. The kids that have the first game have to hang around for hour 15, hour 20 minutes to have their ceremony. If everyone's cool
We
with
could
that.
have a, like a 1 hour gap in between early games and late games to do that.
to do
So that
once.
kids don't have to, because if you have a 9 o'clock game,
Yeah,
waiting
what
until
ended up happening
1.
last year is Jenny's entire team took their trophies and went, and then she didn't participate in the final ceremony. And then a lot of first, second graders and kiddies took their trophy and didn't come to the final ceremony either, so.
So maybe we could put a 1 hour gap between some of those games for the early games, so that we can have a ceremony.
Is the ceremony day, are we doing games the same time?
Yeah.
And the games happened that day, and then we had one ceremony at the end of it.
Afterwards, right.
But like I
I
said, a
recall
lot of
that.
people were like, I don't think so.
Yeah, they didn't want to wait around 3 hours for the
So could we
ceremony.
possibly do that and have like, okay,
That way they, I mean, I think the most they'd have to wait is 30 minutes or so.
So the proposed
Yeah.
right now is early games, and it'd be all one age group or 2 age groups, ceremony.
Yep.
And then later age groups.
Do the ceremony right on the same field that we're doing the game, like
Yeah.
just.
And then
right
that there's a
there.
gap between the first set of games and the second set of games by like 30 minutes, so that the first age groups could have their ceremony.
Okay,
Okay, so we're changing that up, but I think it'll probably be for
I
the
think that would be
positive.
better,
yeah, I think
yeah.
that'd be good too. And then the
Okay.
kids won't time out for the multiple age groups too, especially
Yeah.
the littles.
right. Okay.
And if you need to leave, is there anything on the remaining agenda that you wanted to discuss? We only
Oh, I
have,
think I'm-
I think 15 minutes left, 20 minutes left of the meeting anyway.
Okay, I think, yeah, I didn't have anything else specific.
Okay.
And then I already,
Have to go.
Have fun.
Enjoy, we're jealous.
the next one, the extending the game times, I'd already
Yep,
talked about.
15
so.
minutes makes sense
That's
instead
the
of
next
10, 10, 15.
So can we do that immediately,
I don't know, I mean,
Have fun.
like for tomorrow?
it'd be nice, but you gotta let the rec directors know, so, I don't,
I'm wondering if
Too
not
late
for
for tomorrow.
tomorrow, but maybe the next
Next week.
game to.
yeah, if we wanna amend
So
the
we'll start
schedule.
next week doing that. We'll amend the game times.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta.
We'll
reach
send
out.
updates to you, Ann, for the schedule.
We gotta amend the schedule, send it out to all the rec directors and then the parents, so it's gonna be if we're doing that, we do have to push it out to everyone.
Yep, okay. And then we already talked about updates to the Acton Rec homepage, right?
Yep.
We can make updates after we get training.
Yep. And then ask town to add a field on which sport payment and sign up for the system that tracks and registration revenue. Which that kind of would go with,
Whether we're doing Venmo or,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
being able to pay online.
Yeah.
So that kind of
A follow-up
circles
item.
back, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. She meant field on the webpage, not,
I see why I was
I
confused.
had to actually think about that one.
I wasn't using the updated agenda, I was using the one that I printed out yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I don't see any of this stuff.
Great.
and then the pending, the cheerleading, the school comp, and then warm-up gear. Like I said, I've been hit and miss with Dwayne, and that's in with, what I'm asking him if we can put it on warm-up gear or on the bows or something for them.
What do you mean hit and miss, like getting a hold of them? Or
Yeah.
Is there anybody else we can use? I mean, we should.
I know Sam's in contact with a few others.
Okay, cool. If
I
you have a
told-
relationship with someone, no, it's
Well,
obviously.
I've known Dwayne most of my life, and
yeah.
I've dealt with him for Sanford Soccer, so I
Nice.
just usually
Yeah.
see him, but
Yeah.
I'm missing him right now, so.
Just a quick question for the application for sponsoring a cheer team. Would you prefer that they sponsored the warm-up gear instead? It could be both or one or the other.
Do we reuse do we keep
The cheer uniforms?
The cheer uniforms would be the question. If we reuse the cheer uniforms, we could probably use the sponsors for the warm-up gear.
Yep.
Makes sense to me.
It would be the same for all the other sports too. If we
Yeah.
had warm-up gear, it's
Yeah.
not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Warm-up gear for soccer, warm-up for basketball,
Yeah, because then they could keep the warm-up gear.
Yeah.
and then we use uniforms.
Yep, and we could still reuse uniforms.
And then the sponsors would go on the warm-up gear as well.
No, the sponsors would just go on the warm-up gear,
Right, okay. So
and then we can keep reusing,
we use uniforms,
yeah.
okay.
Do the other towns we play, do they have like logos or anything? Is it like the Wakefield Warriors? I don't know, like, do they?
I don't recall, I'll look this weekend at Wakefield's.
Just curious if we should have like a,
Shapley last year had some snazzy uniforms.
yeah.
Shapley's
They were like
uniforms
black
last year
and
were-
fluorescent green.
Yeah, I was just
don't know
wondering if we
they
should
had
have
any
like
logos on them,
a
though.
logo.
Cannot remember.
But-
Good.
I love that Spartans logo, looks nice.
Okay,
Acton logo.
so for baseball, did we get to that item? Do we know if?
Well, that was kind of based off the survey
The
too.
survey.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to that, so we'll push it to the next
Yeah.
meeting, okay?
Good.
And do we do tumbling over the winter? Not
I think
really.
more just cheer, I think that's.
Okay. And then soccer, we've touched base, I think, on what we needed to, which was the tournament to get that stuff out.
Yep.
Is there anything else for soccer we need to?
Are we ordering medals for soccer, for Acton specifically, not tournament related?
Trophies, I believe,
Trophies,
for end
so
of
do we
year.
need to
For
order
the-
trophies?
For the celebration or whatever.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, for the end of season.
Mhm.
So I think that's a question for Sam, if she would want to price those out.
Trophies, pricing, and again, we need to say something on the trophies last year. I think they said the name of the sponsor.
Yeah.
It's just said the name of the sponsor on the trophies. It didn't say Acton Soccer. It didn't say grade. It just said the name of the sponsors, and it was like
Like, what is this?
Why, how did I got a trophy from a sponsor for what? So yeah, wait. Let's be deliberate about what we're putting on the soccer trophies. Acton Rec,
I agree.
grades 3 and 4, or U12. Last thing on soccer. We have to meet and standardize with all of the directors that we're playing with. There's confusion, and it was very apparent in our, who did we play like?
Berwick.
It was very apparent that they play like a U13 age bracket, or we do like 5th and 6th grade. So there was like some big,
I think that was a homeschool
it was a homeschool league, but
league, so they had multiple age groups, I think.
we need to get on the same page for whoever we're playing at the beginning of the year. Are we doing U12? Are we doing U10? Or are we doing grades 3, 4, grades 1, 2? Like, we need to standardize our age
I get that
brackets.
I get that there's a homeschool group and we know quite a few of them because we homeschool, but it's also like it really made the game difficult because you had kids that look like teenagers, like full on teenagers playing kids that are in 6th grade and 5th grade. So,
So how do we want to figure this out? Do we need to just get on a Zoom call with all the directors and be like, hey, what are we doing here? U10, U12? Or are we doing grades 3, 4,
For
1,
the
2?
tournament specifically?
Every sport. Basketball, soccer.
Okay.
Baseball, if we were to stay with it and play, but specifically right now, soccer and basketball. How are we matching up?
I mean, if those kids played us in basketball, you had kids that were like 5'10" that could have just been like bop, you know?
We need to standardize, are we doing grade brackets, or are we doing like a U12 thing? U10, U8, U6?
I know when I did my 1st and 2nd grade game, we have throw-ins at that age, no kick-ins.
Mhm.
They had throw-ins just from the side and kick-ins from the ends. So that's another thing to look at too, to make sure we're on the same page of rules we're using.
Well, we do have soccer rules.
We set
that
out
are
rules
separate.
beforehand, and that's something we can deliberate. I think the other thing we have to deliberate and figure out each season, or just once with whoever we're playing, Berwick, the Wakefields, the Shapleys, whoever, like, how are we organizing these kids? Because we do 1st, 2nd grade, pre-K and K, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Other towns mostly do the U12, U10, which doesn't align perfectly.
And what is that? Is that just a culmination of like age groups,
Yeah. So if you're
depending on size? Is that how they determine like?
I think it's age, not size.
Yeah, it's just age, U10, U12, like the age. You have to be under that age to play in that group.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, I put it as an action. I guess Sam would be the one reaching out, is that right? To other rec directors? Okay, so we'll have that, we'll send her that. What's for basketball?
Nasson, the Nasson Center for the tournament.
Oh, having a basketball tournament.
Yeah, when TJ and I were doing the summer camp this year, we were kind of like just talking it over, like, oh, it'd be cool to have a tournament here. And I think, what was it, like $175 to rent it out?
Yeah.
Something like that. I could follow up on that as an action item to see what.
I think it's super reasonable, the price. We shouldn't have an
Yeah,
issue.
I remember we were like, oh, that's really not bad.
Well, we put Shapley too, to possibly, if we couldn't get the Nassau Center
we
to
could
do
hold-
Shapley.
Yeah, we could hold multiple games there at the same time too, because they have well, actually, I don't know. Depends on how we want to set it up, but they have the baskets on the
The
sides. too.
crossways.
Yeah,
So it'd be the
crossways.
same thing with the soccer fields. We could do the lower ages.
Can you actually, are there like movable walls that you can
There's
close
There's
off
a-
to,
one in the
to
middle
center
that
of
two
the
courts?
Yeah,
That is
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. They have the divider.
in the
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah, the
you
movable
can't
So we
have
could
divider.
do the earlier ages and crosswise.
Yeah.
So pre-K, K, 1 and 2, and then get that out of the way. That'll be one day of tournament. That's how Westbrook did their tournament last year, is they had one age group for an entire day and weekend, and then the next age group up was a different day.
Yeah.
Just thinking of how we organize it. Because then the 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, I think, would be full court. So,
Yep.
yeah, I like that. Nassau
It's a great
seems like,
idea.
Nassau seems like the place we would have a basketball tournament.
Yeah, and I can call and just verify the price again, see what they have going on and what their booking looks like. 'Cause I don't know, they do plays and stuff too, so I
We
don't
would
know.
probably have to schedule it
Yeah.
soon.
So Sam will probably have to work on the schedule fairly soon, or we have. Do we work on the schedule, or does she work on it? I don't know how that works.
No, I'm saying schedule Nassau Center.
Yeah, but we'd have to know
Pick-
how
pick a
our
date, yeah.
basketball's
Pick
How
a
going.
many
date
teams
and
will
then
play?
go around it
Yeah.
technically,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
Okay.
Because it would probably be on the weekend where we have most basketball games during the week.
Would that be something we should discuss, like through email, or something Sam should figure out as far as a date for the tournament and working with
If it's a
NASA?
tournament, I think it would have to be a weekend, but yeah, we'd probably want to include Sam on those
Yeah.
conversations of getting a date.
Date for tournament, okay.
I think February would probably be good, because then you have kind of a good half of the season under.
Yeah, something to look forward to other than Super Bowl.
Say that again?
Something to look forward to other than Super Bowl
Yeah,
in February.
maybe a February.
Have it on
So
Super Bowl Sunday?
notionally, we'll tell Sam notionally, we were thinking February.
Yeah, definitely not Super Bowl Sunday. That would be like,
Or February vacation.
yeah, when is that? Do you know? Third week?
I think it's the third, it's the week of President's Day.
Okay.
It would definitely need to be before. We lose so many people for basketball to the February that,
Okay, so the first weekend in February, or the last
I think
weekend in
that's a
February?
good, yeah, because the Super Bowl moved, right? It's no longer the
the
first.
second, it's
yeah.
now the second week.
Okay,
So that's gonna be the first or last weekend in February then for the tournament for basketball?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
First weekend is the best weekend in February.
It's your birthday? That's right. I remember.
Okay, do we have anything else?
It's a lot.
I think that's it. I think-
I would like to congratulate everyone on actually getting through this entire
Yeah.
agenda.
Right? Okay, so are we all set
I think we
with
could
everything?
close out the meeting then, make a motion to close the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,